All right, I'm now joined by a very, very, very special longtime friend of this podcast. I just realized this before this. This has been 4 years this month of Brian and I doing podcasts together, which is insane. But it's my favorite thing ever. Every time he comes on, it's the best. So, Brian O'Grady, welcome back to the podcast. How are we doing?
Thanks for having me back on, man, and thanks for making me feel older in a whole nother way. I haven't thought of that one yet. 4 years is a long time, man, but it's been a great 4 years, and it's always fun to get on here and talk with you.
Yeah, it has. It's like you've gone through. You gotten a bachelor's degree and hanging out with me and putting up with all of my terrible jokes and love for crappy baseball teams. So, yeah, that's a feat in and of itself.
Man, your jokes are great, and shit, we've done this all over the world. It's gone all
Yeah,
over the world, man.
international, multiple countries.
International.
Um,
That's right.
so I had a bunch of red stuff like I was just telling you about because I think it's been a very fascinating winter for them and kind of also a little nostalgia factor. But I wanted to start with you and talk about you for a second. 2025 season for you, a couple different teams, all again going international. When you look back to last season, for people who may not have been up to date for like where you've been, indie ball, Mexico, how did everything go from your perspective, and how are you feeling swinging the bat?
Yeah, so last year I pretty much thought I was retired, and then the end of May, I was helping my buddy's son out, who's in college now. He's at Southeast Louisiana, Division One, and man, I hit with him one day and thought, "Damn, I still feel pretty good." So I started hitting with him, got the itch, and long story short, I left for Gastonia in the Atlantic League on June 1st. Was there for I don't know, about 5 weeks, I think, something 6 weeks maybe. Saw you in not Hagerstown. What was that other
Southern
place?
Maryland.
Anyway, Southern Maryland. Saw you in Southern Maryland, and then um, yeah, was hitting really well, and eventually Union Laguna in the Mexican League was trying to get me before the deadline for the rosters for the playoffs down there. And honestly, I first really didn't want to go because I was enjoying baseball again and having so much fun with the dudes in Gastonia. And, uh, my whole goal was to get back to the minor league. So basically, everyone talked me into it. My wife talked me into it too. So I went, and man, it was incredible. I had so much fun. The games were crazy. I played really well. And unfortunately, we lost in the playoffs in Game 7. We were down 3-0 in the series and came back, and I hit a go-ahead homer in the bottom of the sixth in Game 7 and we ended up blowing it in the ninth. So that sucked. So came all the way back, had the lead in the ninth, and lost, but it was awesome. And yeah, I just had a lot of fun. Felt like myself again, and it was some good decisions I made for sure.
Yeah, somebody put the stats together. So you slashed 325 was your average. You hit 15 bombs in 54 games last year. So again, small sample size, but I mean, you're just the 15 homers and like batting over 300 is incredible. I had a question about Mexico because like I wasn't super familiar with that league. Like I know some of the guys who like have been on this podcast throughout the years. Like I think Mickey Janis went down there for a little bit. Like some people have played down there, but I've never really fully understood like what the level of competition was. And then I looked at the roster of your team, and it was like everybody that I like knew as a child, as a major league player, was there. What was it kind of like the atmosphere and the competitiveness level down there in Mexico?
Yeah, it's gotten really good recently because of the changes in the minor leagues here. It's younger guys here, older guys who've been around, maybe have big league experience or AAA, whatever, are getting pushed out. So Mexico is where those guys are going now. Mexico pays good enough to make up for it, and um, so the competition level has definitely increased in recent years. I mean, I would say it's like mostly AAA kind of guys. I would say down there, there's some guys in there that maybe aren't as talented, but overall, I would say it's about AAA. I mean, you like some of those guys that were on my team last year were Jonathan Scope, Didi Gregorius, Jaime Barria's got big league time. I mean, we had quite a few guys, and there's plenty of other guys that were on other teams that were really good too. Like Cano and Bauer obviously played down there. Um, so it's a lot of fun. The atmosphere is a lot of fun. The playoffs were insane. So yeah, it's just a. I never thought I would have enjoyed it as much as I did, or the competition would have been as good as it was.
To travel crazy, you're going across the entire country.
They they tone it down a little bit. I while I was there last year, the travel really wasn't too bad for my team. We did have to go to Tijuana, which was a pretty good hike, and then we had to go back in the playoffs multiple times. So that was kind of rough. But other than that, the travel was pretty easy. But yeah, I mean, Mexico is a pretty big place, and there's teams all over. So fly, some rough early morning commercial flights and fun stuff like that, but it's all good.
That's a good point about just like that league is kind of taken over as like for some of like the minor league teams here because like you said like the way that got restructured obviously a lot of like minor league teams got eliminated and then just like the current state of minor league baseball like it is cool to see that like that Mexico has stepped up to be like hey you have like guys who have big league time or just like trying to get back into it or whatever like you can come down here you don't have to travel all the way across the world and we're going to give you a competitive product and some decent pay so I think that's a really cool thing they're doing.
Yeah, and they also I forgot to say it used to be, the import rule. It used to be a certain amount, I don't know how many 10 imports you could have on a team, and the rest of them had to be Mexican guys or of Mexican heritage. Uh, and they expanded that. So like most of my team down there was either American, Dominican, Venezuela. Like it wasn't mostly Mexican guys. So yeah, all those rules together have for sure made it a more competitive league.
Did you run into any guys that you had played with or played against over the
Oh
years
my
down there?
goodness, yeah, all over. I mean, everywhere, every team. Jose Peraza, 2019 Reds. He was on Monclova down there. Addison Russell's on Monclova down there. Gosh, there were so. I mean, like every time we played a team, I was like, holy shit, that guy's here. Like it was. Mark Payton was on my team. Another, he played for Cebu the year after me in Japan and big leaguer. I mean, there was just tons, man. It was fun. It was really fun.
That's awesome. So plan for this season, fingers crossed, maybe make another run at it again down there.
I think that's the plan. I think my agent's working on it right now. And yeah, I was 50-50 on retiring or giving it another run, but I think we're going with year 13, which is crazy.
That is cool because like a lot of guys won like a decade plus. That's incredible. Like in professional baseball. Have you sat back and just thought that like, yeah, I've been playing this game for a long time?
Yeah, absolutely. It blows my mind. I mean, I'll be 34 in May. So that's a pretty good run at it,
Actually, I didn't know that.
regardless of
I thought you were like
yeah,
31.
yeah, regardless of when it ends, man. I mean, 34, that's a that's a that's a good baseball career right there, no matter where it's been, all over the world. But it's yeah, it blows my mind. I mean, I was a kid when I started this, and now I'm a dad and husband and old and all these things, and somebody still wants me and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Are there things that like day to day that like make you feel super old?
When I see some of these other guys' birthdays, yeah, for sure, that hurts my feelings sometimes. Anytime I've seen a 2000 birthday pop up on the scoreboard, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's bad. I'm old, but no, I mean my body's held up pretty good. It's just I don't know, man. I've just been doing it for so long at this point. It's all like routine, but at the same time, yeah, I'm like, I can't believe I'm still doing this.
Well, like
What?
power ages, right? Like that's as baseball players get older, like obviously like you're gonna get a little slower in the sprint speed department. Although I still think you're probably one of the faster guys out there. Like I feel like the ability to hit the ball hard doesn't really go away, right?
No, I said this to you before we got on here. Last year was the first year in a while that I felt like I actually got better. Um, my swing, everything, like I got better, not just played like myself again. So that was cool. Um, the legs, last year that was definitely one thing I noticed was probably because I swung a bat and did like anything baseball related for about a week before I left, which is not very long, and played games immediately. My legs were they're hurting, and the turf in North Carolina was about 150 degrees, so it was that was a little bit of a struggle at points last year. But that was more just because it was, I just did it like without any preparation, pretty much.
I'm gonna blow your mind right now. I'm gonna be 30 this year, which still freaks me out.
Yeah, 30, 30 is when you're starting to be like, oh wow, I'm not in my 20s anymore. This sounds old, but you're not. I mean, I still feel like I'm 24, and then
Oh
I
yeah.
look at my kids and everything else going on, and I'm like, when did this happen?
Well, I want to take it back in a little bit of like the time machine throwback here because I sent you this the other day, but like the year you debuted in baseball in 2019, you came up with the Cincinnati Reds. I know you came up in like I think it was August when you got called up, but people are calling the 2019 Reds the scariest 75 win team of all time. Just like the highlights, the absurd things that happened that season. I know, like I said, you weren't there for a little bit, but like, what do you remember and what things come to mind when you think about the 2019 Cincinnati Reds?
Yeah, that video was cracking me up. It was a cast of characters for sure. I mean, Puig got traded right before I went up, like got called up, so I wasn't in the big leagues with Puig, but spring training and everything, I was with him. Uh, and he was just a massive human being. Like I remember asking him in spring how much he weighed, and I was like 220. I thought I was pretty big, but obviously he was bigger than me. I thought he was going to say 240 or something. He's like, oh, 260. So I was like, what? But he's just like a thick, big dude, like not fat. And I was like, 260. Oh my God. But yeah, so you had him and then Lorenzen, obviously, just a freak athlete in an incredible shape.
Jacked.
And Derek Dietrich, man, that's he got hurt. That's when I actually got called up. But Dietz is one of a kind, and I mean he can hit the ball. And he obviously had some of those pimp jobs that got people fired up that year and was in ridiculous shape himself. Uh, and then the other one was what Amir fighting the whole Pirates team, which cracked me up too because I had known him. I had played with Amir for like I came up with, so I had known Amir forever, and Amir's. I wouldn't want to fight Amir. That's for. But he was my buddy, and he's just like I know him as my buddy. So when I saw him do that, I wasn't shocked, but like it cracked me up because that reputation to take on a whole team, obviously. I was just like, man, that's a mirror, like So it was it was a lot of fun. There was a bunch of funny guys on that team. I mean, Gino, who I know we'll talk about, like him, Joey Votto. It was just it was funny, man. And yeah, we were in the hunt when I got up there, and I guess it's my fault. We kind of fell off there and ended up at the 75 wins. But yeah, that team had a lot of potential. We just kind of fell off. Sonny Gray, yeah. I mean, we had some good players.
Were you upset that you weren't there when they did the sleeveless jerseys and they were doing like bicep curls in the dugout?
Of course, yes. I was very upset about that. That would have been a great thing to be a part of. But that's that was so funny to see, man. Yeah, that was the it was like the 100th anniversary or like it was some anniversary. So we wore a bunch of throwbacks like throughout the years that Cincinnati, and I got to wear a couple cool ones. So I was fired up about those. But yeah, I missed the sleeveless one. And actually, when right before I got called up, it was the trade deadline, and they got in the bench clearing brawl. Was it with Pittsburgh or was it with I can't remember. They got in a brawl. I don't think it was the Pittsburgh one. I think it was a different one because Puig was going nuts, and Puig had been traded already, but they didn't like know yet. So we finished our game in Toledo, and we're all sitting like eating after the game, watching this, knowing that Puig was traded, and he's like out there fighting people when he's not even on the Reds anymore. So we were all cracking up about that. But yeah, it was nuts. What a team.
There's a couple guys that like I've always been fascinated with this. So Aquino hit 320 with 14 homers in August, and you just mentioned Derek Dietrich. In the month of May, he hit over 300 with 12 homers. When guys go that hot for like a month stretch and then cool off so dramatically after, what do you think goes into that? Is it all just pure luck? Do pitchers adjust in season? Because you guys like guys will have like Linsanity runs and then just like they will never be able to keep it up again.
Yeah, I think they're different. Like Dietrich had been in the big leagues before, like he was established. My guess, and I can't exactly remember what happened with him, but he got hot, the pitchers adjusted or whatever, and maybe he got out of what he was doing. I'm not entirely sure about but he had been around, so teams teams know what you can and can't do. So maybe they were quicker to adjust with him. But as far as like Aquino goes, I literally played everywhere with Aquino. Like one of my really good friends from short season straight up through the big leagues. And he's the best. But he was kind of always that way. Like unbelievably talented. If he hit the ball, it was going to be 150 miles an hour somewhere, and it might go two cities over. But then he would swing at balls that like were bowled up to home plate. He just would get too excited and get out of what he was doing. So in AAA, it was that year he was kind of his normal self. Like he was hitting well, but it wasn't anything insane. They made some adjustments, and he was definitely more selective and not chasing as much. Goes up there, has that incredible month, and I was there for a lot of it, and it was an absolute show. He hit 3 homers at home against the Cubs in a game, and the third one was the most impressive. Like it was, he hit the third one, and it was just an absolute no doubt at left center. Like it was incredible. But then he hadn't been around really, so they adjusted. He started chasing, and that's where that went, unfortunately. But yeah, man, sometimes when you're hitting, you just get into those modes and you get out of them by trying to do too much eventually.
I was gonna bring up that game because I was looking at like his like game log from that month, and you're right, the game with 3 homers versus the Cubs. That was also the game you got your very first major league hit, by the way. So shout out
Was
you
it
on that one.
really?
Yeah.
Sweet. I didn't know that.
Um, but yeah, it just like that's one thing that people bring up with the 2019 Reds. It's like for like those like four, it's like small stretches of that season where like guys hit like Barry Bonds. All throughout that season were different like guys like Dietrich and Aquino and stuff. But yeah, I mean, you guys could hit the ball really hard and really far. Suarez, 49 home runs, just
Yep.
came back to the Pirates. Um, Gosh, like would you watch like some of his at bats and some of the stuff he would do and just be in all like kind of like we just said like with Aquino?
Yeah, so Dietrich might still be standing at home plate watching his homers at PNC Park right now. I'm not sure, but no, Gino is one of the funniest, uh, laid back, just like good vibes dudes out there. Like he's awesome. And it's funny because we might be the same age. I don't even know. If he's older than me, he's not much older than me, but he got up there when he was pretty young. So he felt like he was so much older than me when I was there. You looking up his
Uh,
age?
he's 34. He's born July
Yeah.
91.
Okay, so he's a year older than me. But yeah, it felt like he was so much older than me just because he had been around a little bit. And yeah, that year he set the record. I think he may have broke it. himself. It was the most homers by a Venezuelan born player. He uh, hit more than I think it was Andres Galarraga who had it before him. So that he did that in Chicago. So that was cool. Um, but no, I think he's a great, re-addition for the Reds going back there. Yeah, he's very familiar with the city and everything like that. Obviously, still got tremendous power. He's still a really good hitter. So I think he adds a lot to that team, and I'm sure he's pretty happy to be going back to somewhere that he knows so well.
I watched like a full, like I watched like a 10-minute Mark DeRosa breakdown of his swing and how it's evolved from like 2019. Obviously, he's been like super able to like stay on his backside. They talk about the coil and he's just all back there. And he
Mm-hmm.
like moved his hands like from a different starting position to like actually where he's gonna get set and then he just goes. So like I this is something I'm gonna try to learn more about. It's just like swing mechanics and stuff. But like, would you watch his swings and like I feel like that's a very underrated, like good two-hand finish. Like that's one of my favorite swings in baseball.
Yeah, I love his swing. He's got a beautiful swing. Yeah, he's always had that real good coil that you're talking about, and he's super simple. It's not, to normal people, it might look like a lot's going on, but as a hitter, like he's really simple. It's very easy for him to repeat that same exact load and everything every time. So he's consistent. And obviously, when he gets those pitches that he can drive out of the ballpark, I mean, he does it most of the time. So he's, no, he's a great hitter. And it's been fun to kind of see the little tweaks that he's done over his career. And he's still just crushing balls.
So I mean, like I ask you a lot about Joey Votto just because I think he's the most interesting man in baseball. And now he just signed on, like I sent you the other day, like he's gonna be like a broadcaster now, which I'm so happy about. I watched he did like an interview thing for the Athletic, and he said at one point in his career he wasn't super social. He like would go into the clubhouse, he wouldn't say hi to anybody. He was just all about his work and put the blinders on. And then he like took like improv classes and he learned how to be like a better teammate and like more outgoing. What was your experience like with him kind of towards middle to the end of his time in Cincinnati?
Yeah, first, I think he's going to be an unbelievable broadcaster for two reasons, because he's incredibly smart and knows what he's talking about. But two, he is hilarious, and I can just picture how he's going to say things on there, and it's going to be very funny. So I'm excited to see that too. No, he was great. He was great to me. Um, in spring training, I was with him constantly because it was pretty much just me and him at first base. So I was always doing work with him over there. So we talked a lot. I mean, I remember he was asking me if I ever thought about retiring that spring training, and I was like, no, not not yet. Still trying to get there, man. Um, and he was talking, about what he wanted to do and things like that. And obviously, he played for much longer after that. But that's just the kind of guy he is, and he's. I remember my trainer from Louisville knew him for a while, and he told me before spring, I was good buddies with him. He was like, if Joey asks you to take ground balls, you have to say yes. It's like, okay, why? And he's like, you just have to say yes. I'm like, all right. Finally, one day, like this, we had a night game at home, and this was like after our practice and everything. Like everyone's eating and stuff, and Joey's like, hey man, I'm gonna take some more ground balls. You wanna take them with me? And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, let's do it. And so it's just me and Joey on one of the backfields. There's like 100 people watching because it's Joey. And Freddie Benavides, our bench coach and infield coach, was hitting the fungos, and he hit some serious fungos. But Joey was in full uniform for the game, and we probably took the first 5 or 10 ground balls, like getting loose again. And Joey's like, "All right, Freddie, let's do it." And I'm like, "Oh shit, what are we doing?" And it was like game speed, full game. Freddie is hitting the shit out of these balls. Joey is diving all of it. Was like full blown game. And I'm just like out there trying to survive, and I'm like, what is going on? And so we get done. All the fans like clap for Joey and stuff. And Um, the game was in like 10 minutes, and it's like down the road. It's not right next to our complex. So I'm like freaking out, like sprinting to get on this bus to have it take me, the shuttle, take me down there, and like running across the whole. You come in the out of like right field, and we're in the third base dugout. I'm like sprinting across the field as they're like taking the field. Joey strolls in like 2 minutes before the game, still in the same jersey we were and pants we were just taking ground balls in. So he's like dirty, covered head to toe in dirt for the game, and he's starting obviously, and he just like puts his stuff down, like ran a sprint and went right into the game. I was like, oh my god, what?
Did you change
It
your
was so
uniform?
funny, man. Of course,
Yeah.
of course, I can't do that. Yeah, Joey's Joey. He got the roll right in there, full blown dirty, ready to go and go right into the game.
Freddie Benavides in that video thing I was mentioning about the Athletic, like I learned a lot about. So he's been there forever apparently, and there's a story Joey told where it's like when Joey first came up, he was drafted as like a catcher, and he's like was not nimble, did not know how to play first base at all. And like him and Freddie, they would used to like practice diving, but Joey would just dive into a pool, like full out layout to like practice, like he was diving in a game, but just into a pool. Um, and he said that like he credits Freddie with like the like him being able to be so good defensively at first. And when Joey won his first Gold Glove, he sent it right to Freddie's house. So
Yeah,
that guy
I hadn't
sounds like
heard
a
the full
legend.
story, but yeah, no, Freddie's great and he's a great infield coach. And listen, man, the fungos, sometimes it's not that fun doing that in practice, but when you get into the game and it makes the balls feel like they're way easier, it's worth it. So yeah.
That's the best. Also in 2019 Reds, Michael Lorenzen. So I've been going through a little bit of a Rockies phase lately. So I was really excited to see he signed with the Rockies for a year, 8 mil. But when you were with him in Cincinnati, he was still hitting a little bit, I think. Like I think that you played a game with him in 19 where he hit a home run, he got the win as the pitcher, and he played in the field. Which he was the second player to ever do that. The first was Babe Ruth. So, what do you remember
Yeah.
about Michael Lorenzen swinging it a little bit?
He's one of the best athletes in the game for sure. Like just pure athlete. I mean, he's in great shape, but he hit at Cal State Fullerton, I believe is where he went to college. So like I think he played center field and pitched there. I mean, so obviously he was a good outfielder and hitter too. But I don't really know how we like convinced them to let him hit again that year. I don't remember. But no, he's fast. I mean, he can play outfield still, and he can hit. The only thing is, and he did have some big hits. I remember the home run. I mean, he was like legitimately hitting. But the only thing, and I think I texted it to you when we were talking about it before, was like hitting is just so hard if you're not doing it every day. Like in game, seeing pitches, it's just really hard. So Otani obviously does both, but he's DHing all the time when he's not pitching. So it's just a little bit easier for him because he's consistently seeing it. So I hope they let Lorenzen hit. I'd love to see it again. I just hope he gets enough opportunities to actually hit if they let him. But he can definitely do it.
Did he take over for you in the outfield that game? Because I looked at the box score and it was like Lorenzen, relief pitcher in center field, and you were in center field. Did he take your spot?
He certainly could have. I can't remember, but that was also back pre DH days. So you had to double switch, you had to do all that stuff. So he very well may have. Um, what game? Who were we playing? Did it say? Do you
Uh,
remember?
September versus the Phillies.
I can't remember, but yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he did.
I hope they do let him hit, just because like the Rockies, like try anything, get weird with it. Let Michael Lorenzen get 100 ABs this year and see what he does. Like, what's the worst that could happen?
I don't know. I'm not gonna put any bad juju out there, but
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd be fine. He takes care of himself. He'd be all right.
Did you see? I had Strom on here. I think it was a couple weeks ago, but he was talking about how in I don't think you were in the Padres yet, but like one year Strom hit like 290 when he in San Diego. Um, he's like, I think that
Definitely
for a
wasn't when I was
while,
there.
for a while, he was like that was like higher than O'Hearn, so like that was like a fun little rivalry they had. Um,
Yeah,
did he hit it all when you were with him in San Diego in 21?
I don't think so. I'm trying to remember.
He might have been a full time relief pitcher by then.
He definitely was a full time relief pitcher, and we were no DHs yet, so we were still pitching. Yeah, I don't think if he got an at bat, they probably told him to you just stand there, like you're not swinging the bat. But but I remember that the him and O'Hearn story.
Their rivalry's fantastic. Yeah. Would like pre DH days when pitchers would hit, would pitchers like would they have their own part of batting practice dedicated to like those guys?
Yes, and it mostly revolved around bunting,
Oh,
but yeah,
not
they did
laying.
yeah they did swing it though. But that's the problem is like it's fun obviously for them too. So like some guys get a little too excited and they're taking these daddy hacks, and next thing you know, there goes the oblique or something stupid, and you're like, this guy, our one of our best pitchers just got hurt swinging a bat. Like, we can't have that. So there was a guy in Louisville that year who was on the 40 man and who would have, September call ups back then, like everybody pretty much went up. So he would have went back up and he could swing it. And he was pitching in Louisville. And during his at bat, it was like 2 days before September, took a monster hack and pulled his oblique, and that was it for the year. So yeah, you just got to be careful for those guys.
It's a different era. Yeah, it's crazy to think it's been so long since pitchers would hit, but like there's probably a whole generation of fans that are younger that are like have never seen it. But like, what is that? What is that like when a starter would like? Remember when like they used to get weird with it and like the starters would bat eighth, just
Mm-hmm.
like
Yep.
the double switches. The NL game was weird to watch for so long.
It was crazy to be a part of, like compared to now, for sure. It's such a different time.
Um, so another former. This is just I had a bunch of stuff about like guys you had played with because I thought that would be fun. Emilio Pagan, you played with him in San Diego. Reds closer. They bring him back again for this for another couple years this winter. Um, also had like best season of his career when he was 34. I had a question about his pitch profile. He's like high fastball, like splitter at the bottom, and like I just read that like that's like a quintessential fly ball pitcher. Why is a high fastball sink? Is that just automatically you're gonna be a fly ball pitcher? And also, how does that work at Great American?
Yeah, well, Great American isn't the best place to be a fly ball pitcher, for sure. But yeah, he's always had that kind of like lower release with the high spin heater. And, it's the high spin heaters are just, you're way more likely to miss under them as a hitter. So you pop them up as opposed to a sinker where you're more on top, hit it in the ground. Um, just because of the tricks on our eyes with the high spin heaters. But um, the splitter is the equalizer there because it's similar to Japan where those are coming in and it's kind of hard, really hard to tell if it's going to be that high heater or if it's going to go straight down. So I haven't faced Pagan ever, so I don't know exactly about him. But the obviously he's good. The good pitchers who have that kind of high high spin heater splitter, it's really tough to tell the difference. So that's how he is so effective. And yeah, he's probably going to give up a home run here or there, but overall, man, he's nails and he has been for a long time.
Yeah, it's like one of the lowest. He's like one of the lowest ground ball rates in all of baseball. Like he does not give up ground balls.
Yeah,
I guess the thought process, like you said, like if the heater at the top, the hope is you just pop it straight up as opposed to into the seats.
yeah, and hitters have adjusted more recently because so many guys have been trying to get that high spin heater, um, or understand what the high spin heater is now. As before, we just people say it gets on you quicker, like it just feels faster or whatever, or it's an invisible something like that. But now, since all this data has come out a couple years ago, people understand what it's doing, and all it's doing is, you know, a pitch obviously comes down as it's going to home plate because of gravity and trajectory and all that stuff. But the high spin heaters still come down, just not as much. But to a hitter's eyes, they look like they're doing or like a rise to it. So you're mostly under it, unless nowadays you have all that data that's saying, hey, this guy's fastball does this. So you got to hit a ball above it or, be on top, whatever. So guys have gotten better at it, not me. Um, I've gotten a little better at it, but no, the hitters are catching up to how they need to attack the pitches like that. Um, or you wait for a splitter that starts up and stays in the zone, and those are a little bit easier to get in the air.
I was going to ask, that was my follow up question is how would you approach somebody that's just spamming high fastballs? But
Man,
like, yeah,
yeah,
how do you
it's
approach
it's
that?
like Japan with a really good like when I would face Senga in Japan, it got to the point where I was just like, I'm just gonna assume this is a fastball, so it needs to start lower, or it's gonna be at my eyeballs and I'm gonna swing at it, or you know what, it's gonna be a splitter and it's got to start at my eyeballs for it to be a strike, and you just pick your poison because when they throw them right, you know it's just really hard to tell the difference.
Have you ever seen that video of the side angle of Bryce Harper hitting the high fastball out for a home run and like mid swing he like adjusts up and like gets under it? Like,
Yeah, there's some good ones.
or is that just like one of the hardest things to do in baseball is to try to get under something like that?
Yes, for sure. I think it's just in any swing, there's going to be a little bit of up to it, right? But when it's a high fastball and at good velocity, the higher the pitch height is, generally the like the earlier you have to hit it, the farther out in front of you you have to hit it. So the reaction time's even less. So in order to catch up to those, you got to recognize it quickly and still catch it the right way. So it's just tougher. But like I said, hitters understand that more now, and they're adjusting to try to be able to handle that stuff.
So in that case, it's a lot more guesswork, mental side, like count based or like scouting report based versus like, yeah, that's like kind of one of the only ways you can do that.
Yeah, and guys are different. Like obviously, Bryce Harper's a freak, so he might see that a little bit better. Some guys just struggle. Like there's no guy in the major leagues that just dominates high fastballs at high velocities. Like I think Acuna had the best numbers against it, but in general, it's just a really hard pitch to hit. So that's kind of all there is to it. But yeah, it goes to your approach pitcher to pitcher too. If you're facing Pagan, you're really trying to get his fastball to start farther down, as opposed to I don't even know who throws a sinker anymore. Like when I was playing, it was like Jake facing Jake Arrieta. I'm like, okay, this fastball needs to start like at my shoulders to swing at it. If it starts middle, it's going to hit the dirt.
This is fascinating. And also, like you've been kind of dipping your toes in the water a little bit of like doing like breakdowns and like putting tape out and stuff. So like I think people are really like curious to hear like you have so much experience in the game, like your perspective on like things like this, and also just like I love the Jackson Holiday thing you did the other day. So I think it's cool. What you're doing is really fun.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's just I think if you go on any social media or anything now, it's just so mechanics focused and um exit velocity and that kind of stuff, when the reality is there's so much more to hitting than just that. That's I would say much more important. So yeah, it's fun to talk about. That's the stuff I like.
Have you seen Matt Shaw? This is a good one if you haven't looked into this one yet, but he got rid of his leg kick.
I saw like a short clip. It was like slow mo him hitting BP, but it didn't really show his whole. It was kind of like the end, so I didn't really see the whole thing. But yeah, he had a big leg kick before. Man, everybody's different, but generally the big leg kicks, excuse me, the big leg kicks are harder to time. especially nowadays when pitchers change up their timing too. Some guys are doing they're doing the big leg kick and then they're doing the slide step or they're doing Nestor Cortez is doing 43 different things when he's out there
Shake.
pitching. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like if you got this big leg kick, it's harder to figure that stuff out. So if you cut it down some, you still get that rhythm, but it's a little bit easier to time. It takes less time for you to do your thing.
I think yeah, good for him for trying something different. Like the offense wasn't bad last year, but like in a guy in his case, like he lost his spot. He's a utility guy now. Like every at bat he gets is way more impactful. I feel like so. Anything a guy like Matt Shaw can do to kind of clean up his numbers a little bit on the offense side, like get earn him some more at bats probably.
Yeah, man. And most guys, obviously, he can hit. I don't think they have any doubt about that. But most guys, when you get to the major leagues, there's some sort of adjustment there. There are not too many guys who get to the major leagues and just have the same swing for the next 15 years. You know what I mean? Like, there's just the pitchers are too good. The teams know everything about you right away, and you have to make your little adjustments too. It's just a cat and mouse game.
We're good on time, by the way. I had a couple more
Mm-hmm.
things for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, So another former teammate, Kevin Kiermaier. We've talked a lot about him just because like watching him do outfield is like watching Picasso paint. Like he's a maestro out there in center field when he played the game. Obviously now in retirement, he put a big long video on Twitter. He's like, I want to help guys. And this super cool story because like he does this video. He's like, I want to coach players one on one. O'Neill Cruz's agent immediately reaches out to him. They get a meeting set up in close to where Kevin lives in Tampa. And so Kevin Kiermaier and O'Neill Cruz are working on it because O'Neill Cruz has got all the tools. The defense in center field was really bad last year for the Pirates. Are you surprised, first of all, that like a guy like Kevin like wants to like, mentor and kind of keep like his knowledge flowing through the game? Because like I said, he's like the best defensive center fielder of all time.
No, I'm not surprised at all because that's exactly what he does. He was super helpful to me when I was with him in Tampa. Um, Obviously, he was an incredible, yeah, if not the best center fielder. I mean, he was ridiculous. But the way he went about his work and how serious he took every single rep of whatever outfield work we were doing or shag and VP, like it was on another level. I mean, I've played with some other really good outfielders, and nobody does it like KK does. I mean, not that the other guys didn't do it good, but he's just, I don't even know how to explain him working out there. It's just it's all business, no joke, like not taking anything off. And I mean, he has mastered the art of playing outfield, but I mean, he also knew, like he said that to me, like he loved hitting, obviously, and he thought that he was a very good hitter too, but like he was aware that defense for him was his, number one calling card. Like that's what he did. And that's why the Rays loved him. And that's why he had such a long career in the big leagues, because nobody does it like him.
So he did a MLB Network thing the other day, and like he said, when he's working with O'Neill, like obviously, like I said, like five tools. He's got like the speed and the arm and all that stuff. But like he said, one of the biggest things that like kind of gets overlooked when playing the outfield, like especially position like center, is just like the mental side. And he said like the pitch preparation, being locked in, like you said, like not taking any pitches off. How important is that for a position like center field, kind of the captain of the outfield defense?
It's the most important because you might get one ball in center field or anywhere in the outfield the entire game, but that one ball might be with the game on the line, and you might have to make an unbelievable catch and have a perfect route and run really fast to get there, So it's easier to take a pitch off in the outfield than it is in the infield, because in the infield, if you take a pitch off, your face might get taken off by a ball. So you got to be paying attention there. In the outfield, if you think you can relax and that one ball comes and you miss it by 3 inches because you were not fully in it, that could be the difference in the game. So to be that good out there, yeah, every single pitch has to be locked in until the game's over.
Yeah. It was fascinating watching him talk about just like the way he catches the ball. Like he wants to catch it easy on the transfer, like one hand, that way it's close to the other on the kind of across your body. That was like the little things and like the drop step and like the two hand catch and stuff. Like just like every fundamental thing that you could do right. Like I feel like Kevin Kiermaier did.
100%. Yeah, no, he's got it down to an absolute science out there, and with his own little tweaks and thoughts in there for sure. But yeah, if you're gonna listen to anybody about playing outfield, you should listen to that guy.
I had this thought because like this comes up with the way teams play defense now. Is there an acceptable level of bad defense tolerated? Because like you see teams that are like so fundamentally solid, like the Milwaukee Brewers, the Texas Rangers. You look top to bottom, like they do every little thing right, and like they kind of like feel like they stress that. But then you see other teams that are like maybe it's not so bad if like I feel like defense isn't as stressed every team and every organization.
What a question. Yes and no. Every team cares about defense for sure. Obviously, it's incredibly important to be a winning team to play good defense and play good defense all over the field. They let guys who really hit get away with a little bit more. If you're a big donkey, they'll and you play left field and you don't move as well or whatever, but you hit 50 homers, yeah, they're going to be a little more lenient with that because the bat makes up for it. But defense is too important to just not like those guys are still working on it. You know what I mean? They might be capped by their, running speed or whatever physical ability and defense, but they're trying. They're trying to get them better at it. Because yeah, you see, like you said, the Brewers um, play really good defense, and look where they ended up last year. So yes, they let certain guys be not as good, but that doesn't mean they just don't try to get them any better at defense and just say, yeah, don't worry about it, just go out there.
Yeah, like it, obviously, like you said, like everybody, like I'm sure, like at a coaching level, like every coach wants them to catch the ball the right way, to field it, do the two hands, do the KK out there in center field. But yeah, you see it in just like the biggest moments of the year, and it's just like the little things, like playing the ball off the wall right, or just like having an athlete in an athletic position. You just are like, well, he shouldn't be there, and there he is. So like can older guys learn like can they fix bad defense if you're like and you're over 30, or at that point do teams kind of realize like this is kind of who he is?
I think you can still fix it, but I do think there's, especially in the outfield, like, there's guys like you take, I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but like if you have one guy playing center field, right, and he makes a diving catch, and everyone's like, oh shit, like what a catch, what a play, whatever. Right. Well, then you look at what you don't see is his jump and his route in the beginning, right? So now they measure all that stuff. So the teams see it was a horseshit jump and he took 4 steps the wrong way before he ended up diving to make that catch. Whereas if that was KK in center field, it hits him in the chest and he catches it and it just looks like a routine play. You know what I mean? So how good guys are in the outfield usually stems from their read off the bat, their jump that they get from it, and then their route to the ball, how efficient their route to the ball is. There's guys who are really fast who can make up for that stuff, but the best outfielders are fast, get really good reads on the ball, and take perfect routes to them. That's why they catch more balls and have more range. So, can you improve? Part of me thinks, reading a ball off the bat is like a little bit of a natural ability, but also that's why BP is so important. You go in the outfield, you see these balls coming live off the bat so that you can, you know, judge it better when the game comes because it's not easy, but if that's your job, you keep repping it and get better at it, hopefully.
I think when you and me and had O'Hearn on, I think I remember asking like, what kind of drills do you do for the outfield? And he was just like, just go take like shag, just go out there and see the ball off the bat. Um, like it probably is that simple, right? Like especially going on the road too, like seeing how like the ball comes and like the upper decks and stuff. But like, yeah, just going out there and catching a bunch of them. Like, there's probably not a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the best way. Obviously, there's other drills that, you go through and they're fundamental stuff to get up to game speed. But like, yeah, coach hitting a fungo fly ball is not remotely the same as a ball coming off the bat of an actual hitter um, for fly balls. But yeah, the other part of that too is the stadiums. I mean, the ball does move differently, and the backdrops are all different, and you do have to get used to that for sure. There's a lot of different factors to it. Like I said, it's definitely not easy. Guys make it look like it's easy, but yeah, my advice for anybody would be you when BP time comes, like you're out there getting after it, reading the ball because that's going to give you the best game like, reads out there.
Do you feel more wore out playing center field versus left or right? Because like I asked, because like Mike Trout, the Angels are like, hey, we could probably throw Mike out there in center for a few more games. I don't think he played any time out there last year. Um, I feel like for a guy like him, it's probably not a great idea given his health history. But like as a position, is center field like is it more taxing?
Yeah, I guess it is slightly just because you got your move. Well, every outfielder should be moving no matter where the ball is hit every time. But yeah, center field, you're involved in more because you're in the middle. Um, but as an outfielder, it just depends on the game too. Like I had a game in Mexico last year where I don't know how many balls they actually hit, but it felt like 30 balls got hit down the left field line, and I was just running sprints from left field to
Oh, to
the
get him.
left field foul pole, like I was like about to keel over. So sometimes you just get unlucky, and that's where they're hitting the ball, and there's I couldn't catch like there's no way I could catch any of them. They were just going down the line perfectly. Um, but yeah, center field, generally speaking, I would say is a little more taxing.
Yeah. And it's sad because like this has been a long running topic on this podcast, but just like it's Mike Trout's decline has been like I think last year he played in a few more games, but again, those are all like most like 90% of them were like DH games. So like he's not really like sprinting out there in the outfield diving like he used to. But yeah, because they had Joe Adell out there, and Joe Adell is like I think he's statistically the worst defensive center fielder in baseball last year. So they're trying everything. But they do have this year roving around in the outfield in Anaheim. It's our guy Josh Lowe. Um, for a guy like him who has had 2 straight years of the same exact injury, which is his oblique acting up, fresh start. Like this is a big deal for him. I think getting some playing time out there.
Yeah, I think it's a great spot for him because I do think he'll be able to just play. Yeah, I know he was banged up with Tampa last year, and um, obviously left-handed hitter. I don't know for sure. I'm assuming they were kind of probably not playing him as much against lefties or whatever, and uh, that makes it harder as a hitter because if you're not facing left-handed pitchers and then you face them once every couple days, you stay in there for one. It's like, oh shit, I haven't done this in a while. So it kind of feeds into the struggles against whatever lefty or righty, whatever, not playing again, letting you play against. But I mean, Josh is obviously extremely talented. I think if they just let him out there, he stays healthy and he just plays. I think we'll have a very good year.
Have you ever had an oblique injury like that?
I've had two,
Ooh,
and yeah, one was in Double A, and then Korea, and what sealed my fate in Korea was I pulled my oblique.
thought about that. What does it do? Like obviously, like hitting is so rotational, but like an oblique specifically, like why does it automatically zap you of power and just like Gunnar Henderson? I mean, Gunnar Henderson had a similar ish thing. It was the intercostal, but that's on the side. But like his homer, he had
Mm-hmm.
20 less home runs, and like Josh, his average went from like 300 to like 200.
Yeah, they take a long time to go away. I mean, mine was both my right side, so my front side hitting, and that's just yanking every time you swing the bat, and you don't really realize it until it's hurt. But like, I mean, rolling over in bed was painful, laughing, breathing sometimes. Like you don't realize how much you feel it until something's actually wrong with it. And it literally just takes time to heal. There's not like a ton you can do for it. I remember in double A when I did it, I was just doing breathing exercises for like 3 weeks. I was about to lose my mind. Um, so when you lose that, and then once you're allowed to start swinging again, you're just kind of hesitant to really like let it go, because you don't want to do it again. So I think
Interesting.
just that combination of like, yeah, it actually hurts. And when I came back from Korea and started swinging again, like I still felt it. And I was just kind of like, yeah, we'll see what happens. So I think no matter what you do, you're just like a little more guarded when you feel anything at all.
Interesting. Yeah, like I guess you're right because you don't want to re-aggravate it because that feels like the kind of thing that could get re-aggravated very easily.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Um. Oh, one last race thing. So I obviously like you play there for a year. You've kind of seen how like the sausage gets made in terms of like the roster construction and how much turnover there is. But like I feel like this offseason in particular has been like to lose B Lau and Josh and Pete and like all these guys. Like how weird is it going to be watching the Rays run out there in 2026 with some of these like cornerstones in other places?
Yeah, it's way different for sure. They got rid of what Shane Baz got traded to.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Boz.
That what they added, set like Cedric Mullins. I mean, it's like a totally different team. Yeah, some of those mainstays are gone, and it's going to look weird. I know the Rays have their own philosophy and their reasons why they do stuff. So I'm assuming they got some guys they think are maybe in AAA or whatever that can contribute shortly or something. But they've lost or they traded away some good players without a doubt. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out for them.
Have you seen their new stadium is going to be right next to where the Bucks play?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, they're gonna. There's like a community college just gonna tear down and build like what the Braves have, like a district right across like where Steinbrenner is in Tampa. It's like them, the Bucks, and then they're gonna have like their little neighborhood thing, which is gonna be kind of fun.
If that works out, they'll probably get some serious crowds down there then.
Yeah, right next to the airport too, which is gonna be great. Like
Yeah.
just plane noise. Um, My last thing is so Rob Manfred has floated this idea out there, and I think he said he wants to try to push for it the next like CBA thing coming up this next winter. It's the idea of like a free agent like signing period, and then also having like a deadline where guys have to be signed. He thinks that like maybe it'd be like the month of December because like that's a slow sports month, and he's like we got to have more of an entertainment. Like we got to make it like a spectacle. Like oh this is the 30 days of all players have to be signed. That feels like a bad idea. What does your gut say about like having like a hard cap deadline? Do you think that's bad for the players because like teams will just wait you out and like they'll get you at the very last minute for nothing? Like I feel like that's kind of already with like spring training. That's already kind of like a de facto kind of like deadline if you want because like if you sign past spring training, you're in a severe disadvantage. I feel like.
Yeah, so that my first thought is exactly what you just said. The Players Association is going to hate it for that reason that they think teams are just going to wait it out and not pay guys or whatever. Um, but before you said that, like my other thought is, okay, well, if you don't sign during that period, then what? Like you're not allowed to play next year. Like you got to take a year off. Like I don't. So that's really, I guess, my biggest question. Okay, if you don't sign during that period, then you're shit out of luck. Like
Yeah.
you sit out a year. Because obviously that'll be a big deal. Whatever I get from Manfred's perspective about like wanting a deadline or some sort of spectacle type deal, but yeah, I don't see how you could be like, oh yeah, if you don't sign before December 31st, then you don't play next year. That doesn't really make any sense, and I can't imagine the Players Association will ever agree to that.
Right. I've been learning a lot about the Players Association. I think it's like the strongest like union in just like going like the way that they like advocate for their players and like the bargaining power that they have. But like, I feel like there's already these kind of systems in place where it's like, if you sign into spring training, like you probably don't want to do that because you have to learn a whole new team. If you're a pitcher, like your arm, like remember a couple years ago, it was like the Boris Four, where it was like Chapman, Snell, Bellinger, and all these guys. They all signed in like March, and like they didn't have great years, especially Snell. I feel like he was hurt the whole time. So like these things kind of already exist, but like also I feel like if you're a team, you kind of need to feel things. I think somebody texted me that Framber just signed with the Tigers, by the way. So like
Oh,
here we
really?
are in February, and like big free agents are still kind of out there. So like I don't know what the fix is, but like I don't think that's like I don't think you just put it in like a 30-day calendar. Can't do that.
Yeah, I don't have any like great ideas off the top of my head, but I agree. It doesn't seem like that is the best fix for it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I want to see what the Framber thing was because the Orioles were in on him for the entire offseason. 3 years, 115 in Detroit.
Wow.
Highest AAV for a left-handed pitcher of all time. Highest for a Latin American pitcher too. Um, Big get for the Tigers. Have you seen the? Have you obviously? I don't think you've gone through arbitration, but just like the Scooble arbitration things coming out tomorrow. Um, have you like known guys that have gone through like actually gone to arbitration? That's got to be the worst thing ever.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really likes arbitration because the team, a lot of times, the amount of money that is being fought over, like um, in baseball, like
Yeah.
sometimes they're fighting over like $200,000. So it's like, why are we fighting over this? And then the team has to go in and pretty much like shit on the player and say how he sucks and he doesn't deserve this extra $200,000. And it's just like a weird, it's just like a whole, it's just a weird thing. So yeah, I did not have to, I have not made it to arbitration, but everybody I've talked to about it just says what a weird process it really is. And the Scooble thing is obviously on a different level, but yeah, there if he actually looked like what player filed for 900,000 or a million and team filed for 915, it's like what
What
are
are
we
we
doing?
doing?
What are we?
Is it
Yeah,
worth
like
it to make a guy hate you for like $75,000?
exactly. Yeah, it's just weird.
I think the Scooble one's the largest disparity. I think he wanted 32 and I think they wanted 19.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it's all nuts, man.
when this comes out, we'll have the hopefully know what the results are of that. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's probably not worth it. But yeah, now you got Framber. That's your Scooble arbitration hating you insurance is
There
Framber
you go.
Valdez. But all right, man. Well, this has been incredible. Thank you as always for coming on and talking ball. The one last year I had so much fun. That was I mean that was like the Dodgers signing Palooza. It was like Tanner Scott and Sasaki and all that was the last time we talked. But this one's been incredible. Thank you as always for hopping on here for I guess like an hour or so. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me anytime, dude.